I never thought a routine surgery could cost me $425,000 and my entire family. For 5 years, I worked 2 jobs, sacrificed every luxury, and lived on ramen noodles to save up for my dream. I finally bought a beautiful piece of land, a prime commercial lot valued at $425,000. It was my ticket to financial freedom, a future I built with my own sweat and tears. Because I trusted my parents blindly, I had given them temporary power of attorney a year prior when I was traveling abroad, just in case an emergency arose. I never revoked it. I never imagined that the people who gave me life would use it to destroy me. In early 2026, I found out I needed a major, invasive surgery to remove a benign tumor. It required me to be under heavy anesthesia for nearly 6 hours. My parents, Richard and Eleanor, along with my envious younger brother, Julian, stood by my hospital bed, acting like a loving, supportive family. As the nurse wheeled me into the operating room, my mother kissed my forehead and whispered, "Don't worry, sweetie, we'll take care of everything." They certainly did. While I was completely unconscious, helpless on an operating table, a shady real estate developer who had been eyeing my land for months contacted my father. The developer offered a quick, cash-in-hand deal. Seeing dollar signs and fueled by greed, my parents used the old power of attorney. They signed away my $425,000 property for a heavily discounted cash payment of $300,000, under the table, bypassing my knowledge completely. They thought they could use the money to bail Julian out of his massive gambling debts and buy themselves a luxury vacation home. When I finally woke up in the recovery room, groggy and in immense physical pain, I noticed my family was missing. Only my partner was there, holding my hand with a look of pure terror. They handed me my phone. The first notification was an automated alert from my property management app, "Ownership transfer successful." Asterisk. The physical pain of my surgical incisions was instantly eclipsed by a suffocating, blinding wave of betrayal. I called my father, my voice shaking. He didn't even apologize. In his cold, arrogant tone, he said, "We did what was best for the family. You're young, you can rebuild. Julian needed the money, and we expect you to be a team player." They thought I would cry, accept it, and suffer in silence. They underestimated my resolve. Still wearing my hospital wristband and barely able to walk upright, I contacted a fierce, high-stakes civil attorney. We didn't just file a standard lawsuit, we went for absolute destruction. Because the power of attorney was intended for emergencies and they deliberately acted against my financial well-being while I was incapacitated, my lawyer filed charges for breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, and grand theft. The unraveling of my family was swift, brutal, and entirely public. When the legal summons landed on my parents' doorstep, panic set in. The developer who bought the land realized the title was clouded by fraud, panicked, and pulled out, demanding his cash back. But my parents had already given half of it to Julian, who had immediately lost it at a casino. With no money to return and a federal lawsuit looming, the family dynamic turned into a psychological war zone. My mother blamed my father for pushing the deal. My father turned on Julian, demanding he pay the money back. Julian, terrified of going to jail, threatened to testify against our parents, claiming they forced him into the scheme. Within 3 weeks, the grand facade of our affluent family completely collapsed. My parents had to put their own house on the market just to pay my legal fees and the developer's damages. Extended relatives took sides, corporate associates distanced themselves from my father's toxic reputation, and the family dinners that used to be filled with fake smiles turned into screaming matches monitored by lawyers. 2 months later, a judge ruled entirely in my favor. The sale was voided, my land was returned to me, and my parents were ordered to pay heavy financial penalties that left them on the brink of bankruptcy. The final blow came when Julian was arrested for hiding assets from the court. On the day he was sentenced, my mother called me, weeping hysterically, begging me to drop the charges and save the family. I looked at the scar on my abdomen from the surgery. A permanent reminder of the day they stabbed me in the back while I couldn't fight back. "You destroyed this family the moment I went under anesthesia," I said calmly, and hung up the phone. They wanted my fortune, but in the end, they lost their money, their freedom, and their child. I got my land back, but more importantly, I finally learned the price of toxic blood.